This is a request from another follower. It's from the year 1991, the movie New Jack City starring Wesley Snipes. Ivory's back to jump in on the action for this one. So let's go and get this episode started on Movie Breakdowns. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And before we get started, I want to let you know if there's a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. Also have a Patreon, Patreon/Ali Zakka for $2 a month. You can cut in front of everybody. Get your review out way before it comes out on Facebook and YouTube. You also get other stuff on there like trade reaction, other content like the Star Wars list episode I'm making. And before we get started, I also want to introduce our guest, Ivory. Welcome back to the show. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
I think the last review was Us. If you want to go watch that one, go check it out. It's up there. So pretty much just type in Movie Breakdowns, Ali Zakka, Us, and you're good to go. If you're a fan of Jordan Peele, which movie? Nope, I haven't got to that one yet either. That's the new one that just came out.
I need to watch that.
But this episode not about Nope. This episode about New Jack City from the year 1991. And yes, it's gonna be spoiler field, so you haven't seen this movie. It's 30 years old at this point. It came out in 1991. They're in 2022, so go check it out. But if you care to sit around, we're going to sit and talk about it. And what is New Jack City about? It's about a guy named Nino Brown who having to rise to the top of New York's underground while selling narcotics and different drugs. And the police department of New York is trying to break him down, trying to bring him down. And they get Ice-T, a maverick type police officer who plays by his own rules to help break down and bring down Nino Brown. And that is the gist of New Jack City. I've never seen this movie until this year. Ivory had it as a VCR tape back when I was a kid, and I finally saw it. And I looked at it and I was like, never watched it, just never seen it. And apparently it comes on VH1 all the time and other channel like BET. Just never watched the movie. Never came across it. And until now. And the things that we're going to talk about, the things we like. You want to go first on what you like about this movie? The good things?
Well, what I liked about the movie, I think it was, I want to say at that time in 1991, it was considered, it was gritty. It was more, it had a lot of movement in it. It was seemed to be fast paced for a little bit, and then it was, it was colorful. And it was a little bit of crossing the line of reality versus, reality meet art. That's what it was. So at that time it was like the movie had this really, gripping type of flair to it. You just like, I gotta watch it. Oh my gosh, who let them in on our secrets and stuff like that. And I mean, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was actual to fact, but it displayed a lot of things that was going on in a lot of the neighborhoods back then at that time, and also a lot of the I wouldn't say infiltration, but there was a lot of people. Police got to snitch, using drug addicts to snitch and people that was dealing too. So it was more like a 2-hour long video.
Yeah. The things I like, it's interesting. The things I like about this movie, I did like the storyline of it because it was kind of based in reality. It was based off of like what actually happened with some neighborhoods with crack and drugs and getting involved and bringing down like neighborhoods of people who were working hard to get hooked on drugs and they got pretty much their life taken away from them. And I actually like that dynamic of it because like based on reality, and then you're watching people trying to do better for themselves. Like Nino Brown was kind of be like a modern day Robin Hood where he was giving money out to kids for some reason. I'm not sure why he giving it to the kids, but he giving money out to the kids or doing like food drives like for Thanksgiving. Like I think he was giving everybody out food. And Chris Rock, when I get to like the things I didn't like, cannot act in this movie. Bless his heart, he was trying, but
he was a first time actor, really. I mean, you can't blame him. This is probably like his second movie, maybe.
But still, though.
His second movie, you can't blame him. He played the crackhead really good.
Oh, okay. Well, to me, it was just like it wasn't Chris Rock playing Chris. It was just Chris Rock being Chris Rock. Like, and not the character, like just the way he talked and brought. Like, I watched so many Chris Rock's movies. He sounds the same in all his movies. He don't sound different. In any movie of Chris Rock, I never hear like a different kind of version. It's like Will Smith movies. they're always the same person. And Chris Rock was the same thing. I was like, man, bless Chris Rock. Bless his heart, but I feel like it was just like him ad-libbing, being Chris Rock, and being the mannerism he does, and all the goofiness he brings to everything he does was in this movie.
I think this was his second movie probably on the screen, because I think the first one he was in, he was a Low Down Dirty Shame with Jada Pinkett and Keenan Ivory Wayans. Yeah, so he was in that movie. I think the first time I seen him, and then the second time I seen him on the screen was with New Jack City.
Okay. But like I like,
so you gotta. I mean, look at Ice-T. He was first time acting too. I mean, when you first do stuff, it might be a little rusty. I mean, a little bit comical.
But when if that's the case, like the writers in this movie, before I get to this, like I feel like the writers should be able to help the actors out and give a director, and the director should be able to
supposed to help
out as well, and
the writers had a problem. The writers have their issues with this movie. The dialogue wasn't too great, but Mario Van Peebles was the director. Blame him for the way he acted.
So there's a few things in this movie, but the storyline, I did like the storyline, and I did like Chris Rock character Pookie rise to like getting clean and everything, and then him like dealing with going undercover, but then being around all the drugs and finding himself back on the drugs. Like I actually liked that storyline there. I thought that was like interesting storyline. I was like, man, and then ended up being the downfall of the police department because he breaks their cover, which why did they happen so quick? I don't know, but it did. This movie happened so fast, but
I think that's what I liked about it. It was fast paced, so. But it was like really, it was broken up into 3 parts. If you look at it, the first part was about, showing how Nino took over the neighborhood. He took over the Carter, which was
the apartment
complex. He took it over from another guy who was running it from, I guess, drugs or whatever. So he decided to humiliate him publicly and then take over the apartment complex running his drug thing. So the first part was about how they came up, when crack first got introduced into the neighborhoods. And the second part was about Pookie and him getting clean and then him going undercover. And then the third part was like the part where they took down Nino. So I think that's how I saw it in 3 parts.
It is. It's definitely a 3-part act movie, which I love the storyline. I think the storyline was great because of that. Like it was like you've seen everything, first act, second act, third act, and how it played out. And Nino Brown's arrogance brought him down too. And I will say this, Wesley Snipes was such a great part of this movie. Like I enjoyed Wesley Snipes acting in this movie. I felt like he went 110%. Oh, yeah. I felt like when he was menacing, he was supposed to be menacing. Also, a sad part about Wesley going 110%, the scene where the lady who was like hitting on, trying to get Wesley Snipes to cheat on his was like, I am Wesley Snipes. And Wesley Snipes was like just super like.
She was trying. She didn't have to try hard because he was looking.
But like he was like, calm down,
dude. He was thirsty. He was thirsty. But then I didn't use that word, but this is exactly what it was.
But like this dude was like,
she didn't have to try hard. She didn't have to try hard. All she had to do was just,
he was being subtle about it.
This is what you want. You can have it. And he was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, this is what I want.
He was not being subtle about it. It was completely like, come on, bro, calm down. Like you put like this big.
Thirsty.
He has a whole wife, a whole girlfriend right there. He had a whole girlfriend.
Thrown out there in front of him.
His own bud messed with him, like his own best friend messed with the girl, and he was like, I still want some of that. Like coming back.
I don't think it matters, son.
Which also part of it, one of the reasons he got taken to court because she was gonna validate everything that was going on.
And I didn't like her. What was her name? Michelle, whatever her name is, Michelle Mitchell, whatever her name is. I didn't like her for the simple fact was she was a ride or die with him through this whole thing, and all of a sudden, I want to murder people, All of a sudden, she was like, I'm gonna tell on everything. I was like, all because he cheated? Because you could have been told on everything if he was such a killer and all this stuff. But it was like, oh nah, he cheated with her, with the hoe, which was supposed to be a hoe. So he cheated. So then it was like, oh, I'm gonna take him down. So let that be a lesson to all y'all. A woman gonna take you down regardless of what happens. All you gotta do is cheat. She's gonna take you down. So she rolled or die, or ride or die through the whole thing until that part right there. That was her reason for taking him down. But she could have took him down anytime if she was so concerned about what he did to the neighborhood and how he done people and killed people or whatever the case was.
So like, I
felt like she was part of the problem too.
And that's like the other part of the story where like Nino got too big for his britches. Like he like thought he was invincible.
So let's go right back to that part where he thought he was invincible. That goes to this movie was loosely based off of Scarface.
Well, no, the movie it shows Scarface in the movie, not once but twice. He's watching the movie, so it tells
that's what they used it as. They used that as the blueprint for this movie because it played out the same way Tony Montana, came from this, this poor Cuban. By the way, Al Pacino. I know this is off the subject, but awesome in that movie because he played a Cuban. For a long time, I thought he was a Cuban before I realized he was just acting. But anyway, he played a Cuban who rose from the dirt poor ashes of Cuba, went to Miami, got deported. I mean, not deported, but he came over here and became this, this $1 million, drug empire lord. And so it was sort of like the rise and fall of Tony Montana. And they did the same thing with New Jack City, except they just used we used the people in the hood, and was based in New York City, which was, like I said, New York City, boy. Every time they show New York City on TV, it's just so depressing. But anyway, same thing, New Jack City, New York City. So that's basically, I think, is what they was using as the word New Jack came about because at the time music came into the play, which they call New Jack swing music. And so I guess they kind of used that too. But when they portrayed New York in this movie, same way, grimy, depressing, just, I know New York is not like that, but that's the impression I get from the movies every time I watch it. So, but yeah, they played the same thing, used Scarface as the blueprint to use the rise and fall of Nino Brown.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought that's what they did. So. Or Mario Van Peebles, the director. I think that's what, or whoever written it. I think he written it too.
And we'll get to that part, like who directed and wrote it when we get to like casting directors. Okay, dislike. What dislikes do you have about this movie?
I dislike the fact that I could see the stuntmen. Like when in the fighting scenes where Ice-T was fighting Wesley Snipes on the staircase at the end, where they were when he was fighting them at the end when they found him in the apartment. I could literally see the stuntman. It just wasn't. It just took you out of the movie. When Chris Brown was riding the bike down the stairs in the beginning when he was trying to jack.
Chris Rock.
What'd I call him?
Chris Brown. It's cool. I was like, for most, make sure the audience knew who you're talking about. Okay, Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. So when Chris Rock, as Pookie, was riding the bike down the stairs, I could just see the stuntman, and Ice-T the same way. He was running and doing the jumps and things like that. I don't like to see the stuntman. I know that they do use stuntmans and things like that. Like most actors do not, do all the stunts themselves. But when I can see it in a movie, that just takes me out of the element. So now I'm watching everything else that the movie is actually made of. So I'm not actually watching the movie. I'm actually like, okay, so they did cut, and then this guy jumped on the bike, and then they cut right here, and so it kind of takes you out of the movie. Those are some of my dislikes. The other dislike is Ice-T. I just didn't really like his character. I really didn't. I didn't think he could act. There was a lot of movies I didn't watch in his first beginning movies compared to how he is now, but in the beginning, it was like, I just didn't like his character. Other dislikes, I feel like the director tried to put the message in the movie, which is fine because John Singleton did it too. Rest in peace. He did the same thing, which is fine, but I like the way John Singleton did it. Mario Van Peebles tried to do it too the same way, whereas they had the teachers. It was just so blatantly in your face. It wasn't subtle, so maybe that was his point.
Like, but what's the message?
When the teachers were talking to the kids and telling them to say no to drugs, and say yes to this or whatever, then they showed the kids are on a playground full of crack pipe valves or whatever, or the crack valves that they use. It was just floods of them in the water right there, and it was like, how are you trying to teach? It was almost like, how's the kids gonna say no to all this stuff? And they're smack in the middle of it and can't get away from it. Sort of things like that. I guess he wanted you to think, but at the same time, it's a movie. It's for entertainment, so we can't do both. Either I'm gonna think, or I'm gonna watch this blindly and ride along this like I'm Nino Brown in the dope game.
I actually like that because that scene did it was a powerful scene because it showed like you said like the teacher trying to more like get out and kind of get better, do better for yourself, and then you look down and like there's gonna be a hard road for them to get out because of what's around them, and then like the only way to get out will be going to the drug game at this point because that's where they see the success at. You look around, Nino Brown handing out money to kids. Oh, he's successful. I'm gonna be like Nino Brown and he give money to the neighborhood, but that's not the way to go about it. Like there's an old man who lives in an apartment like you're ruining everything. You're ruining everything, and he's doing
idolater. First. Well, for years I didn't even know what he was saying, and I had to like put it on captions. Like years later, when I watched the movie again, it's he's saying idolater. I didn't know what he was saying. It was calling him annihilator or something. I didn't know what he was saying.
The dislike for me in this movie is one, the cuts. Like actually, the beginning, the first 5 minutes of the movie when Ice-T is shaking, is chasing down Pookie. Chris Brown. I did it right there. Chris Rock's character, and Chris Rock jumps off of like the bridge, wherever the case may be, and you see like this train coming by. You're like, oh my gosh, he about to get run over by a train. It doesn't. He just cuts up and then starts like running, and then Ice-T jumps down and they're next to a train track. All of a sudden they cut next to a park. You're like, where'd the park come from? How did they get here? They was at a train track with no kids around to a park where everybody's around, and then he shoots him, and then people are talking, but you can't see who's saying what. And one dude was like, he's kicking his monkey. And I was like, why did he say it like that? And where did he come from? Like, I thought for a moment, Ice-T said it. I was like, no, it's just people around, but you can't see them talking. There's certain times in this movie where the camera angle is set up where characters are saying stuff and you can't see who's saying it, or they're saying it, but the camera's so far back, their mouth's not moving with what they're saying. Like they went back over and re-dialogued the movie, like as in like the actual movie itself, not like years later like a revamp. No, it's the actual movie. Like that scene where they couldn't like say what they wanted to say, or they had the camera exactly where they wanted to say, so the script didn't look right. So instead of like me talking to you, if you couldn't see my face, it'd be like me saying this, but then like you're here like over me, and then I'm like now talking back, but that sentence I just said just filtered in.
But
like,
that's why I said it seemed like a music video. So that part right there, they're jumping and cutting and over to that stuff like that flows like a music video, not like a movie. So I understood that.
Movie.
I understood that part.
The Dutch angle. The Dutch angle.
I don't know, but what's the Dutch angle?
It's the side camera angle where like every time they show somebody like a side camera, like so like when they're showing Leo Brown, like just tell him tilted, like the camera angle is tilted, but he's so instead of like straight up and down like this, the camera is tilted, so it's like it's called Dutch angle.
Yeah, okay.
Like
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what it's called. And this movie used that angle so many like. I'll give you every other scene you had a side or somebody's talking to somebody and for some reason it's just like a sideward version because like the camera angle is switched, so it's them standing up, but like the camera kind of switched. So instead of like getting like this version, you might get like my shoulder and.
Maybe you should watch some more of his movies. Maybe that's one of his signature
thing. He like using Dutch angle. There's a lot of movies that do it. Thor 1 uses it a lot too, the Dutch angle. But it was like it puts it add more attention to it. But when somebody's just sitting there talking, it doesn't bring anything to the movie. I
didn't feel like that was complicated, at all. I kind of roll with it.
It didn't bring it to the movie. It was just there.
You kicking his monkey ass, okay? He's a dude in the crowd. He's watching.
And then the montage scene of Pookie getting clean, I thought it was a flashback.
Oh my God. That's why I didn't like. I know. I was like, is you in the facility treatment or you at Ice-T's house? Where you at? And why are you? I
I thought it was prior to what happened. 'Cause, like he was when his cracked out murder was like completely dirty, like it looked like he missed a teeth. Like they had gold pieces in his mouth, and then all of a sudden he's cleaned up, teeth clean, no gold in his mouth. And I was like, how do we get here? What happened? Now he's clean, and now he's joined the police force. What? He's going undercover? What?
It was kind of like, what's going on here? This part right here. Man, Pookie, I'm gonna get you clean. And I'm like, you doing it, or is the facility treatment doing it? Because this is not making sense to me. Why is he in your house? Is it your house, or are you at the facility treatment?
Instead of like working now, so they can get better. But they're both. There's both. Apparently both.
And then the comical part, like because we got Chris Rock. He's probably 100 pounds. Look like it in this movie. So he's flopping around. And then the part where everybody's sitting around talking about how they was a crackhead and sold this and did this and all this crap. And Pookie looks at the camera and walks out like. I'm like, why y'all even do this part? So I don't know if Mario Band people went and read some scripts or some dialogue from like crime cases or something, or did he actually go and research this personally and talk to somebody to get their opinions or their history or background on what drugs, how drugs affected them? Because I feel like if he didn't do any research, he really shouldn't have threw all that in there. Because
I think it's just after the story of getting better and cleaned up, and then so Pookie can jump in. But then Pookie gets back on it and then get busted by doing jumping jacks or something like that. Gets busted.
No, what he said. He started talking about.
And the dialogue.
Start talking about these women. Talking about their skim milk and those.
Oh yeah.
That's the part. And so once he did that, he making stupid jokes.
Why were the women naked? Like why would they have naked?
They saying. I mean, I ain't never worked in no crack house, or whatever, drug warehouse. I ain't never worked there, so I don't know. They claiming, that's what I'm saying. Did Mario Van people actually do research to find out? I ain't never been in one where everybody's butt naked. In there butt naked is what he said. In there butt naked. It's like a assembly line is what he was saying, how they was running the drugs through the place. So yeah, if he never researched this is something he threw in there because they wanted to see naked breasts all over the TV screen.
I was like, okay.
No, they had to throw the nudity in there somewhere.
And on top of that, and then the dialogue of the movie, the dialogue is not that great. It is, man, they got my friend Pookie, man. I couldn't believe the cookies did, man. And then Judd, what's this dude's name?
Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson's like, hey, man, I feel like, they got Pookie too, but and then I was like, we gotta bring down Neil Brown. What? Why? Like, the dialogue don't even make it, like, hold on, man. What? And then I was like, whose funeral they at? Apparently it was at Pookie's funeral.
It was his funeral.
Pookie was awake. Like, if you look at that scene again, Chris Rock has his eyes and he blinks. He's looking up and he blinks. He was awake when they found him.
You mean when he hit the bomb
on him? He probably did, but in reality,
maybe he was dying. He wasn't.
He hasn't said anything.
But maybe he was dying. That's what I'm saying. I didn't really, even if he did blink or whatever, I could see it as him not being fully, deceased. He was probably dying.
But even should have said something like Pookie, are you with me? But they should have asked Pookie, are you with me? That's what they said. That's what they said when they saw Pookie. They was like, oh God, get the bomb off.
Because they about to die. You only got 2 minutes. They had 2 minutes. You had 2 minutes. Either you run out of there, which they wouldn't have got out of there in 2 minutes, so it would have blew, or they disabled the bomb.
But there was no check on him, make sure he's okay. It was like four dudes. It was 4 dudes there.
He was already on his way out.
But no, it could have been like, hey Pookie, are you alright? Pookie, don't move.
No, it couldn't.
They didn't say anything. He wasn't deceased. He was sitting there like he was blinking. Go watch that scene. He is blinking at the scene.
They knew he was done with. They had to get the bomb off of him.
Once they get the bomb, did just like, hey Pookie, okay, and somebody check his pulse, and then be like, there you go. There's the scene right there. You don't have to say anything. You can check his pulse. The bomb disconnected.
So you say he should have added a little bit more drama into it.
Yeah, it's like if they would check his pulse and just look like a sad look away, just like
we got it. I got it.
No,
Pookie was dead.
I was like, who funeral is this?
He was dying. He was damn near dead.
I was like, who funeral is this? And they gotta find out Pookie's dead, man. They had to tell you Pookie is dead because you didn't know what funeral he was at.
Really?
Another thing about this directing part of this movie, there's another scene where Pookie's clean, Ice-T and the director or the head police officer walking together side by side, and then the police officer look over at Ice-T like, I don't think Pookie's ready for it, man. I don't think we should put him out there. While Pookie is right next to them. Is that the conversation you're gonna have about how you should do like an operation? You should not have the person you're in question in the same area with you. Cause Pookie's, hey man, I could do this. Like, God, writing and directing is set up like, and the dialogue.
Life, son. You should work at my place.
The dialogue in this movie.
That's real life. They talk about you right in front of you.
The dialogue in this movie is not the best dialogue. It's super cheesy at times, and it just doesn't flow. And then Judd Nelson's character, why is he here?
Because the director had to have all nationalities in the movie. He has black, he has Asian, he has Caucasian, Puerto Ricans probably was in there too.
He did.
So I think he did. I think he tried to do Italians. So I think he tried to put every nationality under the sun in this movie. So
I'm okay with that. But why is he there? They made him do like he was a main guy, and he's not.
Because Judd Nelson at the time in the late 80s, early 90s, he was kind of like an up and coming popular actor. And I guess Mario probably felt like he had to bring a bigger name to the screen because people really know who Wesley Snipes was at the time. And so he thought, okay, I'll bring in Judd Nelson as a bigger name, so people be like, oh, okay, let me go check Judd out, even though Judd didn't really have nothing to do in this movie, but his name was on the screen. It's like, okay, Judd Nelson, we know he played in a few good movies in the 90s, late 80s, so yeah, people went to go see it, but yeah, he really didn't have a part.
I have no problem with that, but the fact is, like that last part, there's no part. There's a beef between him and Ice-T that we never get fleshed out, and all of a sudden they just like...
It was no beef because it was like Ice-T said, I heard about you, and Judd was like, I heard about you. And then they was like, well, we not gonna work together.
But yeah, they gotta work together and then like calling each other out. And your dude gonna get us busted, man. Nah, he's cool. I think something's wrong with him, but he's cool. Oh, Pookie got busted. Let's go. Like,
that right there. What? It's like you was a little bit too late to the game when he was dancing around talking about.
Like everybody else saw what's happening. Hey man, something wrong with your boy, man. Nah, there's nothing wrong with him. Oh shoot, they just busted him. The guy was covered.
You 5-0? You 5-0? Like blow this way, blow it. I'm still in here. I know the workers like, hey, we still working. We ain't get no clothes on. We got to get out of here. Well, blow this place. I'm like, really?
Gosh.
Blow this place. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, if I was working there, I would have been just like, let me get out of here. I'm bombing the whole place.
And that same second, right after that, Wesley Snipes up there like, with that ogling that girl. Anyway, it's just a lot of writing, and the writing choices that could have been smoother, and the dialogue in this movie could have been smoother. I watched other 1990s movies.
What was wrong with Wesley ogling the girl?
It was what he's doing. He was like, like, dude, come on, man. You would be like this kingpin. Like, you would be chill about it. You would be like nonchalant, like, hey, I talk to her. I want her. Like, hey, come over here. Versus looking at her like every little fine when he was at the club first year. Right there, and his boy was like, "Hey, no, I mess with her, man. Like, like
no, but he called her a hoe.
Yeah,
see that, and that was the thing too. Like so the disrespect. So yes, she was a stripper. Well, so what?
Well, she was. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know she was some girl at the club. They brought back, and she seemed more freaky than what's the name girl. And then apparently, old boy is gossiping to everybody about Wesley Snipes' girl because she can't have kids. So he was like, well, can't have kids.
Guess who put that out there? Wesley should never told him. No, G Money got a big mouth.
G Money is his name.
G Money got a big mouth. He talks about everything, so he should have never told him anything to begin with. So yeah, that goes back to Wesley Snipes telling his business.
And speaking of big mouths and people like should be telling everything. So G Money has a big mouth. How come G Money didn't know who Ice-T was? If everybody else knows Ice-T's 5-0, how come he didn't know he was 5-0?
But they didn't know he was 5-0. The only person who knew, what is his character's name?
Oh, you're talking about
Ice-T. What's his character's name?
Ice-T's character is Scotty Alberton.
Scotty. Okay, so the reason why nobody supposedly knew Scotty was the police, because only one person's supposed to know. That was Kareem Akbar,
the brother from the bank. The educated brother from the bank.
The educated brother from the bank was the only one who was on the playground at the time when, in the beginning, where Scotty supposedly had, shot
down
Pookie because Pookie tried to rob him because, so for whatever reason, he was in a suit. Everybody else in street clothes because they on a basketball court or something. He steps in, he sees Ice-T, Scotty. He sees Scotty arrest Pookie or whatever. And the whole time when Scotty gets introduced to the crew, the educated brother from the bank, he ain't said nothing. I'm like, I guess he didn't remember because your memory gets shoddy sometimes. But why? I think it took him being down on the ground for him to see. Oh yeah, I know that kid. Dude, it should have been triggering something from the beginning.
He does.
It's not like he looks. It's not like he looks inconspicuous. He looks like somebody you should be remembering. He has these fake dreads on.
Yeah,
he looks like the Predator. The black coat on. I mean, he looked weird. He had a black leather coat on.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Wesley didn't have a shirt on. They playing basketball. He has a big giant leather coat on. So I'm like, is it cold or hot? I mean, maybe Wesley was sweating because he played basketball.
Yeah, probably sweating. It was like,
I don't think nobody else had coats on, did they?
I think they did. They had some
sweatshirts on or something.
Because Kareem told the black lady, the one, like the lady who's like his henchwoman.
Oh, Keisha.
He told Keisha that
he said, I know I've seen him somewhere before. And that right there should have told.
They should have told Wesley Snipes right
don't
there.
Talk, dude, because I know I've seen him somewhere before. It's a bad memory in my head about him. Just don't hire him or whatever. Don't F with him because.
And one more thing before we get to casting directors, the wedding scene. So there's a wedding that happens, and then
Keith Sweat was in there for just no damn reason singing.
Oh, that's Keith Sweat.
Yeah, it's Keith Sweat looking like a.
I feel like I should know that dude. I said, this dude looks familiar, but I don't know who he is.
It's Keith Sweat singing.
Oh, okay.
There you go, telling me no again.
Oh,
yeah.
At a wedding.
At a wedding. There you go, telling me no again at the wedding as a wedding song. So that song means like dude trying to get with girl. She keeps telling him no. Like I don't want to be with you. And he's sad. He's crying as Keith Sweat does. He's whining. And he's singing this at the wedding. This is the wedding song. So anyway, that made no sense whatsoever. He should have sung, let's see. Oh, he could have did some songs he did. Well, no, that was later.
But
yeah, anyway, that didn't make no sense.
So at one point, Wesley Snipes' character upset the Italian mobsters. So they crashed a wedding, and they're on there's a bunch of stairs, and Wesley Snipes and his gang is above the stairs. They're at the top of the stairs, and then the Italians are at the bottom of the stairs. They start shooting upwards at Wesley Snipes, and you're thinking, logically, if you have the high ground pointing down, you should be able to shoot your target easier than shooting up. And for some reason, none of the Italians one dude gets killed from the Italian mob. Everybody else on Wesley Snipes' team just get destroyed. And I'm like, y'all shooting down. This dude is standing, not moving, with a gun just like bag directed. Everybody else is taking cover. So you're telling me y'all can't aim and shoot this dude who's not moving? He did not move for the whole scene. The main mob guy was sitting there at the bottom of the stairs just shooting upwards, and apparently perfect aim. Well, no, he missed Wesley Snipes and little kid multiple times.
Yeah, so. that could not be my daughter in that movie because the way he snatched her up and it was put her in front of him, I'm like, dude, the little girl could have jacked off the way you did that. You can't tell me she wasn't hurt because it's like you snatched her up by her little arm. Okay, but anyway, that was just being dramatic, saying, oh, he used the little girl to protect himself. So that's how much he cared for the kids. He used the little child to protect himself from getting hit by bullets.
I thought he was bringing the child back up.
He was supposed to be protecting himself against getting hit by the bullets from the child in front of him.
That wasn't obvious enough because like he picked it up and then I thought he was moving back up with her. Then he dropped her on the ground. I was like, oh.
No, he was trying to protect himself. That was the point.
He looked at Wesley going to shoot him, and then he's like, nah.
He should have just shot him if he wanted to take him out because apparently. That was Nino was the one who killed his mother.
That was the main thing. Apparently, Nino, and for some reason, Nino decided to tell him that he killed the teacher after school.
That part makes sense.
That was his way to get initiated. And that teacher he killed ended up being Ice-T's mother for some reason. Okay, all right, I'm done. All right,
but to go back to the Italians. It wasn't that he upset the Italians. What happened was they used to be his suppliers.
Yeah.
And then he decided he was going to go with somebody else and cut them off, and that made beef between them. Is what happened with them. So.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the cast directing. This movie came out in 1991. It's rated R. It's an hour and 37 minutes long, which I actually appreciate that. It's like a
Felt
short
like 2
movie.
hours.
No, it was an hour and 37 minutes. I feel like it moved fast enough.
It did move fast.
Director is Mario Van Peebles.
Peebles.
Peebles. Peebles.
Yeah,
Peebles. My bad. Mario Van Peebles. The writers is Thomas Lee Wright and Barry Michael Cooper.
Thomas Lee Wright.
And Barry Michael Cooper was the screenplay, but Thomas Lee Wright was the story.
Look them up.
The box office on this movie, it had a budget of $8 million, and it grossed worldwide $47 million. It made its money back, so good. It almost made its money back on the opening day.
Yeah, I went to go see it.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to go see it in the movies.
And the cast here, we have Wesley Snipes as Nino Brown. Like I said, I thought Wesley Snipes was good in this movie. Besides that one scene, he was like overacting. I feel like the rest of it, he was solid. He was good. Like he was threatening when he needed to be.
I love the
charming
scene.
when he needed to be.
I love the scene when he put everybody at the table. He walked around with that dog because Martin Lawrence did a parody of that scene, and it's hilarious. You gotta watch it. You gotta look it up. Martin Lawrence did a parody of the scene where after he got busted, he asked everybody who did it. Everybody was just shaking in their boots. And it was like people I'd never even seen in the movie got up from the table. I was like, who are these people? What was y'all doing up in here?
Right?
Yeah.
That's his empire. And then Ice-T plays Scotty Appleton. The line dialogue for Ice-T was not good. Like he said, there's one thing he said like man like 14 times. It was not that much. It was like 5 times. But he was like, man, I can't work with this dude, man. I don't know about the dude, man. Like why you keep saying man for? You don't need to say man after every sentence.
There was not a whole lot of dialogue. If you really thought about it, it's not really a whole lot of dialogue. There's no deep scripts up in here, so
it might be deep scripts. It's just like, at least make it sound natural. It didn't sound natural.
Yeah, I hate when I can see the acting. So
Alan Payne, who played G Money, thought he was
G
fine.
Money.
I don't know. I didn't think anything about him. Like just thought he was.
He played his part.
Yeah,
He the only one I felt like. He the only one I felt like that he did the acting and it flowed where I couldn't even critiqued his acting. It was pretty on point on screen. Even when he became the crackhead,
Yeah, he did. He
did that just as awesome as he played G Money, the street dudes.
Right. Then Chris Rock, who played Pookie.
You mean Mario the singer? Mario the singer?
What?
Chris Rock and Mario, they look alike, especially in that picture.
Chris Rock?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know who Mario is?
I probably heard a couple of songs, but Chris Rock, who played Pookie, just like to me, it's Chris Rock being Chris Rock, and just like I feel like Chris Rock doesn't act. I just feel like Chris Rock just ad-libs everything and just be his comedic self, and that's what I felt like in this movie. Like it was just Chris Rock being Chris Rock. Just like I can't think of a Chris Rock movie where I've been like, Chris Rock is going 110%. Like
he's a comedian, so pretty much his acting is going to be based off his his comedic skills.
Right? So like the movie Grown Ups, like I know in that movie, like he's good in that movie, but that movie's nothing but comedians playing off of each other. Yeah. It's all them ad-libbing. Like no, don't have lines. Like they're just playing off of each other.
But then again, that's 20 years down the line too. So acting has gotten better. So
I guess the one where I'd like to see would be Spiral, which is the Saw movie, where it's more serious and
Chris Rock played in that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
He played like one of the Saw sequels called Spiral, where he's not being like a comedic or anything like that, where it's like this is him had to play a character versus him being like Chris Rock and tweaking it to how he feels that the character should go. And I could be completely wrong. If Chris Rock sees this, he's like, I actually did try to play that character. I'm like, my bad, man. It just felt like at this point, it sounds like Chris Rock is being Chris Rock.
Guess what?
Yeah, Mario Van Peebles.
He played in the movie.
He's Stone. I don't know who Stone is.
Stone was the freaking police officer, the detective. They're all. That's the director.
Come on, man. You made a mistake on your own scene. You was in the scene.
Well, blame the writers. Blame the writers. If he was in the scene, then it's the writers and the whoever it is. It's Selena.
Michelle. Michael Michelle. Wow. Michael Michelle.
Yeah.
Michael Michelle, who plays Selena. I didn't know who she was until like the kickback scene where they was watching Scarface. I didn't know she was in the movie the whole time, and all of a sudden it's like, who is she?
Yeah, she was in the beginning when he was setting up his empire. Like I said, she was right there. So now all of a sudden you want to snitch? They ain't got Christopher Williams' picture there?
Christopher Williams played Kareem Akbar.
Brother. He's the educated brother from the bank, Kareem Akbar.
Anybody else on here you want to point
Russell
out?
Wong, he was the Asian cop. Bill Nunn, Dada Man. They actually called him Dada Man was his character's name because he stuttered and they was calling him Dada Man. I thought it was
stupid. And then Bill Cobbs was the old man who was like,
Bill Cobbs, yeah.
What was the line in the movie? He said, he said, Nino Brown, hell has a date with you or something.
Yeah, something like that. I know. But he called her, he said idolater. He didn't call him Nino Brown. He called him idolater.
And then Jude Nelson played Nick Peretti, which is funny because like he's not even the top 4 people on here. That's how pointless his character was. Not pointless, but that's how like
it just seemed he had a minimal part in the movie. And they just used his name to kind of bring people to the movie, or maybe you know, maybe get backers or something for the cost of the movies.
And also, what bothers me about this, Nino Brown was like, not Nino, but Judd character was like, now I understand Pookie a lot. You said I didn't like Pookie, but I understand him a lot. I used to beat Pookie. So crack don't have to do anything about color, race, where you from. It doesn't matter. It'll take everybody down.
I think he was talking about just drugs and
or
industry, period.
And IT's like, makes sense to me, man. We're cool now. What? This whole beef and then all it took. Why did Jude come into his place shooting up his wall on the gun range wall? Like that makes no sense. Like, and then probably like the dude would be loose cannon, but I feel like Judd was more of a character who was like wasn't loose cannon. He was just seemed just be a dude that was there. Anybody else you want to point out?
Yeah, you need to point out everybody. Okay,
so that's a lot of people.
So you got, they didn't put Christopher Williams' picture there, but you got Vanessa Williams, which is Keisha, and she played on a lot of things. She played in Soul Food. She played, I can't think of a lot of movies right now off the top of my head, but she's a very good actress. But I don't know if, you know, this was one of her in the beginning roles or whatever. I think she played Keisha very well. She probably don't get enough props for that. But her dialogue, again, the script wasn't, you know, it wasn't enough to bring to her character, you know. They got her calling dude Gigantor and then Grandpa, you know, it's the way she said.
Get Grandpa out of here, slow your roll, Grandpa, something like that. But yeah, I just feel like
she want to smoke people all the time. So
I just feel like that's as far as main cast, that's pretty much it.
And let's see here.
Because nobody else.
Oh yeah, the lawyer at the end, Ms. Hawkins. Miss Hawkins was Phyllis Javon Stickney, and Nick Ashford. He really didn't have a part. He was Reverend Oates in the movie, and he's a singer. He's, passed too. Tracy Camilla Johns, she played in some Spike Lee movies, I want to say.
She played Unica. I think she's
Unica, the one that was supposed to be
the girl hooking up with
the stripper.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think everybody need to be pointed out because everybody had a role. It just wasn't a lot of dialogue for them.
They have main spots though. They're like the main people like Wesley Snipes, Ice-T, Chris Rock. Surprisingly, Chris Rock was a bigger
all of them
piece.
are bona fide actors now. You know, like you know, like I said, I don't know who that person is, but that's the Italian guy, John Preed. But yeah, some of them are bona fide actors now. So.
Any other thoughts?
For the movie, I really think it probably enlightened people who didn't know what was going on in neighborhoods in the neighborhoods, you know, back in the late 80s, early 90s when you know, as they say, crack was flooded into our neighborhoods by the government. So don't quote me, I got that from the movie or something. But anyway, I think it enlightened some people who wasn't aware of what was going on for us. Some of us, you know, we saw this every day. This is where we lived, and so we knew some of the stuff that was going on. I was just kind of like, why are they putting this on the big screen? You know, if they did a documentary, it'd be different, but y'all putting this on the big screen like it's entertainment or whatever. So I guess, you know, people got to get their money. It's always somebody got to make money off of people's stories. And so I felt like it was not a parody or some people's lives, but yeah, it was made to make money off of us. But they used a lot of the music at the time. It was called New Jack Swing, so a lot of the soundtrack was dope. I think I wore that soundtrack out.
That's what I'm gonna say. Like,
I wore the soundtrack out, but yeah, that would help the movie too, because if it wasn't for the songs and the videos and the groups that sung, you know, you had LeVert, you had Troop, You had Keith Sweat, Guy, and gosh, there was a lot of other singers. I can't think of their names right now because I'm not looking at the soundtrack. But if it wasn't for them, the music and the videos that came along with some of the songs, that the movie probably wouldn't have did as well as it did. So yeah, but it was a well-made movie for that time period.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say as my last thoughts was the music. The music in this movie is really, really great. Like I was listening to it, man, I'm like actually nodding my head to this song right now in the movie. Like most time I don't really like licensed music in movies, like unless it actually has a meaning. But this movie, it was actually necessary to have like certain licensed music. If one there in clubs or set up a certain scene or set up a certain piece. There's an acapella group in this movie for some reason. I don't know why that was there, but it was singing.
The group was called True.
But that was True.
They have a bona fide album that came out during that time that so it should have sold a lot. I don't know if they made a lot of money, but there was a bona fide group.
It just seemed odd to me that it was just sitting outside singing. I was like,
because that was the video aspect of it, and if you think about it, it went from the old school, which was the OJs.
Yeah,
I think it was the OJs. It was Levert, Gerald Levert, Sean Levert, and their cousin, I believe, or somebody. But it was Levert was the group. But I think they said OJs. But anyway. It went from them singing to troop singing. So it went from old school to new school, basically, when they was singing and doing the songs in there. And so it was like I said, like a video in a sense with stuff chopped into it.
I don't like that. But no, I do like the music. The music part of the movie, I love the music and hearing the songs and soundtrack. I was like, okay, I'm down with this as far as the music go. Oh, I just remember another line from this movie. I'm gonna shoot you so bad it's making my hard. And when I talk about
you can't say it if you get in trouble.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to get I want
to shoot you so bad.
And I was like, he's like, I'm gonna shoot you bad, making it hard. And I was like, what is it? Like, why are you shaking like this, doing it? As far as dialogue and right there, I just thought about that as I was looking at the songs and music. I was like, as I was thinking about the end of the movie, because there's some good music at the end of the movie too. That scene and just like
that stood out.
Yeah,
I thought it was. At the time when I first watched it, I thought it was kind of stupid too. But I was like, hey, maybe so. Maybe
writing.
I don't know. Y'all tell me.
Dialogue.
When y'all shoot people, y'all
dialogue. Anyway,
when y'all about to...
I'm done. Is this a Friday night movie?
No, I wouldn't call it a Friday night movie because you do Friday night movies as family movies.
Yeah, like family and friends. Like get together, like have a movie night with friends. Yeah, no, I don't say it's a Friday night movie. And Grave Time. You want to go first? I'll go first.
I'll go first. I'll give New Jack City a B.
A B?
Yeah.
A 85%. All right. I'm gonna give New Jack City from 1991. I'm gonna give it a C minus.
C minus.
70%. Now, why you gonna give it a B?
It's a good movie, man. I told you, it's a good movie. The music was good. I mean, except for the dialogue, the written dialogue. That part, it was questionable. But the music and the way it flowed, I mean, the colors in the film, because it's New York, and y'all didn't make the whole movie grimy and gritty and dusty and gray. And then the styles, it represented, the hot top phase that was worn in the 90s. I don't know about them suits they was wearing, them colors on them suits and stuff. Maybe they did, I don't remember. But some of the clothes that they wore was legit bona fide streetwear that was worn even in our city.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the fake dreads on Ice-T. He should have just came in with his own hair or whatever. But I'm like, because I would have looked at him questionable anyway. Any cop walk around with some dreads like that, like, dude, you a cop. You can't come up here like this. You a cop. Because the dreads was fake.
I give it a C minus.
But it's a good movie. It's a good movie. I think you graded it kind of low. There was issues with it, but...
So here's my average. My average of my movies is 75. That's a C. So a C is an average movie.
So hard sell, ain't you?
So you start off average. When you watch a movie, you start off average. C. That's why it starts off average and you go up or down. And this movie, it was a C. I was like, okay, 1991. But then the dialogue for me really hurt it for me. I was like, this dialogue and writing for some characters, the choices, how you have a character come in and then he goes away for 20 minutes and comes back and then try to tell you that he's like Pookie. Like, okay, whatever. Pookie's deaf, but you don't really realize he's dead until they actually tell you he died. Like, it's more show, don't tell. And this movie did a lot of telling. Now, I did love when it came to Wesley Snipes' character, and I felt like he did carry this movie. And the storyline of this movie, I really enjoyed as well. The storyline was really good. In the music, I enjoyed the music of this movie. But the dialogue and writing really hurt it. I was saying, like, this movie's hilarious.
Yeah, but there are some scenes where people just, to this day, they be like, he be calling me, man, be calling me.
See? See? Like, calm down, Chris Rock. Or Chris Rock, like stopping, looking at the Chris Rock, like he's like, come. It's too much.
It's the comedian, you know.
But it's not a comedian. This movie is considered a action crime drama.
Drama?
There is no comedy whatsoever. So
It's not supposed to be comedic.
And she'll be like, he can get his monkey ass. Like, that scene right there told me this movie was
That scene right there. That was it. After you saw that, it was like, oh, this movie's gonna be wet.
I was like, this is where The Rock got it from? Straight up your candy? Like, I was like, okay, this movie dialogue about to be tough. And then when I started listening to more of it, I was like, okay. Or like when Wesley Snipes was talking to G Money, he was like, man, because you read all the success, but it's not about success, it's about survival. Like, why you just like give him like a prop? It's like, no, man, we're taking that from you. No props, G Money. We got out here surviving. Like, what?
See that was the mentality. They wanted to show you his mentality about why they were selling crack, even though it was killing the community and taking down, families and things like that and destroying lives. They wanted to show you that on one side, this is what the drug was doing, but on this side, people were trying to survive. We got to make money. But, granted, shouldn't love money that much, I guess, at all costs. But yeah, we're surviving.
So I feel like this movie for me was a C minus, a 70%, which is not like C minus is average movie. Like it's a 70%, like 75 is like, okay, most of my movies, go watch my reviews and go through my list of movies. You see a lot of my reviews are C's and B's. There's not that many A's and there's not many D's and F's.
I'm about to give it an A.
But she gives it you said B, so a 85%, and IMDb gives this movie a 6.6 out of 10. That is a D.
Really?
That is that's a D. And Rotten Tomatoes gives this movie a 77% from the critics, so that's a C plus. But the audience give it an 80%, which is a B minus. So like we're like right there. If you look at we're like right there along with everybody else. So the audience with my mom, they're close with my mom's side here. Well, but you already it's cool.
I'm the mother.
They're close with her, and then when I said earlier, like I saw the VCR tape. I was like VCR tape.
Wow, date me, boy.
Well,
VCR tape.
That's what I saw.
I don't even have VCR no more.
I
still think I got the tape too.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't throw it away.
If you guys seen New Jack City, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Ivory, thank you for coming on to this episode of Movie Breakdown. Appreciate it. You want to say anything else to the people out there before we head on out?
No.
Well, thank you guys for this episode, and see you on the next episode of Movie Breakdowns. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.